today. As you know, I always ask for requests, and I finally got one. We're going to work into the hips. So we're going to work specifically hip opening, the hip flexors, working through the outer thigh and into the glutes. And then we're also going to work through the shoulders and through the upper back. So opening through the chest and through the shoulders. Those are two areas where we tend to hold a lot of stress. So we're going to breathe and we're going to focus on just releasing stress through this practice today. The core is going to stay tight, but we're going to let everything start to release as much as possible. So hopefully you're getting out and you're walking a little bit more, enjoying the nice weather, doing some of the workouts. So this will be a good complement to any walking workout that you're doing or any other strength or conditioning workout as well. So a few things I have for today. A yoga strap. So if you do not have a yoga strap at home, you can use a belt. I like to use the belt of a bathrobe. I find that it's just about the right length. You can use a scarf if you have one around. You can also use a hand towel. Anything that's just going to allow you, we're going to use this with shoulder openings, so just allow you to come into the poses a little bit more. We're also, you can have that hand towel for kneeling that we come through as well, or you can get a bath towel, larger bath towel. This is basically just going to be to cushion our knees when we come into our kneeling positions. I also have a yoga block. If you haven't seen or used a yoga block, you may have seen it before, but if you have not used it, the tallest level here is the easiest level that we go through. So this, for our practice today, is basically going to be for balance. Just to give us a little support as we come into some opening through the hip flexors. You can take it down a level here. So we got level 1, level 2, and level 3. We come flat with that. Eventually, as you work through with your practice and you use a block, then we would come all the way with the hands towards the floor. Now, that progression does not have to happen in one yoga practice, and it will likely happen over time. So don't feel like you have to get all the way down towards the floor in any of the positions we come in today. If you don't have a yoga block, you can use something like a small stool. Have a small stool that we can use. Again, we're using it for balance more than anything else. So something that is just firm and can give you some support that's wide enough to balance with. So we'll put those things to the side and we will get started. So we're going to come to a standing position. If you have a yoga mat, just coming towards the back of your mat. Focusing on your breath. We're going to bring the feet a bit more narrow, so they're not hip width apart, but in slightly, more so the big toes come towards each other. Again, we're working on that stretching through the front of the legs, so the closer the legs come together, the more we have to support and work through the torso. That will get that hip opening right through the hip flexors. Brace through the belly. Pulling our belly button in toward our spine, and then maybe a slight shoulder roll and relax the shoulders back and down. Take a couple more breaths here to feel your grounding, that connection to your mat. Breathing in and breathing out. 2 more breaths, just focusing on your inhale and on your exhale. Once more, breathing in and breathing out. Continuing to breathe, we add some arm movement. Inhale, bring both arms up and overhead, lifting towards the ceiling, maybe a small press forward of the chest, and as you exhale, bring the arms right back down. So the height of the arm lift is completely dependent on how open your shoulders are. Lifting on an inhale, coming down on an exhale. Lifting on an inhale, and coming down on an exhale. We're going to do 2 more. Pay attention to the hip quadricep, the front thigh muscles, as well as the chest as we lift. Brace through the belly as the arms come down. Once more, inhale, bringing the arms overhead. Feel the opening through the chest, through the hip flexors. Exhale, bring the arms right back down. Good, 3 breaths right here, just in our standing position. Inhale, feel the belly brace. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale. And exhale. We're going to bring it into a superhero pose, working through the back. So we're going to inhale and bring the arms up and overhead. Begin to bring the arms down. Gently make a fist with the arms as you come down. Press back and behind. Bend at the elbows. Place them in the small of your back. Inhale, lift through your chest. And as you exhale, press your chest forward. Pull your elbows closer together and feel that through the hip flexors. Inhale, relaxing through the shoulders and releasing the arms to your side, relaxing through the hands. Inhale, bring the arms up and overhead, palms facing each other. Exhale, bring the arms down. Make a gentle fist, bringing the arms back and behind. Placing the hands in the small of your back. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, pull the elbows together. Oh, I can feel my shoulders. Do you? Inhale, release through the elbows. Exhale, release your hands to your side. Need 3 more. Inhale, lifting up. So I want you to focus on the opening through the shoulder or through the chest. Little fist. Bringing the arms behind, bending the elbows, pressing the fists into the small of your back. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, just pull the elbows together. You should start to feel a little bit into the hip flexors, not a whole lot right here. Inhale, slowly release the elbows, and then exhale, release the hands to your side. 2 more. Inhale, lifting overhead. Exhale, arms coming down. It's a gentle fist as we come down. Thumbs over the index and middle finger. Place the palm or the fist in the small of your back. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, pull your elbows together. My shoulders are super tight. Inhale, relax through the elbows. Let them come apart and release the arms to your side. One last time. Inhale, lift up and overhead. Exhale, bring the arms forward, small fist, bending the elbows, hands to the small of your back. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, pull your elbows together. Oh. Inhale, slow release through the elbows. Exhale, release your hands to your side. Inhale, arms come overhead. Exhale, just release the arms back down to your side. 2 more, just like that. Inhale, brace your belly. As you exhale, release the arms down. Feel your belly engage. Feel that hip flexor start to stretch. We should feel a little bit through the hips. Lift, lift, lift. Exhale and bring the arms down. We're going to go through that sequence with superhero pose through the arms. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. This time, exhale, small press back with the arms, opening through the shoulders. We should feel more through the hip flexors. Inhale, come up. Exhale, gentle fist as the arms come back down in front. Brace through your belly, press the arms back and behind. Inhale, bend the elbows, fists to your hip flexors. Exhale, relax the shoulders. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, maybe a small press forward with the hips if that does not hurt through the back. Brace your belly, press your hips back into your fists as shoulders stack over your hips. Relax the arms down to your side. Just the right arm lifts up, back, and around. Left arm lifts chest lifts but not the shoulders. Exhale, either press the hips forward or start to pull the elbows back, or maybe a little bit of both. Inhale, press the hips into the fists, bracing through the belly. Exhale, release your hands to your side. Once more, inhale, lift overhead. Small fist as we come down. Press the arms back and behind. Bending through the elbows as you inhale. Fists to the small of your back, shoulders down. Exhale. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, small press forward with the hips, enough so that I feel the hip flexors more than through the back. Brace your belly. Inhale, shoulders come up, stack over the hips. Exhale, release your hands down. Right arm lifts up, back, and around. Left arm lifts up, back, and around. Both arms lift up towards the ceiling. Small press back. Inhale, both arms up. Gentle fist as you exhale, bringing the arms down and behind. Inhale, bend at the elbows. Fists to the small of your back, shoulders relax. Exhale. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, small press forward with the hips. Brace the belly, pull your belly button towards your spine. Inhale, shoulders over hips. Exhale, relax your arms down. One more set like that. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. Exhale and press back. How are we doing? Inhale, lift. Small fist as you exhale, bringing the arms back and behind. Inhale, bend the elbows. Hands to the small of the back. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, press forward. Brace the belly. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, relax the arms down. Show me that back stroke with the right arm lifting up, back, and around. Left arm lifts up, back, and around. Inhale, both arms just to shoulder height. We're going to exhale, bend the knees like you're going to sit into a chair. Keep the chest lifted and bring the arms back and behind. Brace through the belly. Inhale, come to stand, arms to shoulder height. Exhale, tiny bend in the knees. Chair pose as the arms come back and behind. Inhale, stand up nice and tall. Exhale, press the arms back. Two more, and then you get a break through the arms. Inhale. And exhale. So we really work the arms. We want to tire them out so they relax better. Brace through the belly. Inhale, lift. Exhale, press straight back, knees together. Hold this position. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale as your belly braced. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, come to stand and relax the arms down. I'm going to take a small step forward with my right foot. Look down at your feet. Make sure they aren't stacked. You might even take the feet wider than hip width. Okay? So wider than the hips. We had them in closer here. So I'm going to take a step forward with my right foot and a step out to the side with my left foot. I'm going to keep my hips facing the top of my mat. Again, through the arms. Inhale, bring the arms up and overhead. Exhale, press the arms back, biceps by your ears, a small bend back, and you should feel the left hip flexor muscle. Brace through your belly. Inhale, come up. Exhale, press the arms back and behind. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you release the arms down. We should be feeling the back quad muscle. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. Exhale, pull the arms back slightly. Feel that stretch right through the front of the thigh. Inhale, lift overhead. Exhale, release the arms down in front and press slightly back. Now, I told you you get a break through the arms. Inhale, lift. If you do not want to use the arms, you do not have to. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. You have 2 more sets, pressing the arms back. I'm going to show you without the arms this time. So we would inhale, lift the arms overhead if you choose. Biceps back by the ears. Exhale if you choose not to, just a tuck of the pelvis under. Brace the belly. Inhale, arms come back overhead, shoulders over hip. Exhale, arms come forward, and then sweep back and behind. Inhale, bring the arms back up. 1 more set. I'm going to throw the arms back in this time. Lifting. Exhale, pressing forward. Feel that hip flexor stretch. Inhale, overhead. Exhale, and release the arms down. Press back and behind. Inhale. And exhale. We're going to step back with the right leg. And then bring the left leg in. Little shake through the legs. We're going to work through the hip flexors a bit more. Inhale, bring both arms overhead. Exhale, that small press back, just like we did in a straddle, opening through the front of the body. Exhale, bring the arms down, sit back into your chair, rotate the shoulders back. Arms come back. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, press biceps back by your ears. Inhale, come up. Exhale, sit back into your chair. Keep your chest lifted, arms up. Just 1 more time. Inhale, lift, standing up tall. Exhale, press the chest forward. Inhale, come to stand. Last time into our chair pose. Exhale, press down. Press the arms back. Inhale, stand up nice and tall. Hands come to your side. Exhale. Left leg this time steps forward. Right leg can step out to the side slightly. Make sure your hips are facing the top of your mat. Brace through the belly. Shoulders back and down. With the arms, inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, small pull back with the arms, maybe a bit of a back bend, opening the hip flexor on the right side. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release the arms down and slightly back behind. Inhale, lift overhead. Exhale, little bit of a back bend, pressing into the front hip flexor. Inhale, come up. Exhale, come back. We've got 3 more sets. I'm going to do this set without my arms. Inhale. Exhale, arms come back, pressing, opening that hip flexor. Inhale, bringing the shoulders back up over the hips, a bit of a balance challenge. Exhale, hands can come back and behind. All right, my friends, we've got this. 2 more. Inhale, with or without the arms. Exhale, you are stronger than this workout. Inhale and exhale. Once more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. We're going to step back with the left leg. Step the feet together. So we're going to come into a dancer pose here. Now, I'm going to walk it to the wall so that you can see. I can use the wall for balance. So I'm just going to place the hand onto the wall. We're going to work. I'm going to start on my left side since I'm facing this way. You can start either way. Now, I want to make sure the pelvis is tucked under and the belly is braced. So in order to make sure the belly is braced, you might just kind of feel it, make sure it's locked in. Doesn't have to be completely Once more. A gentle release of the back leg. So think of your muscles like a rubber band. We wouldn't pull it, and then just release to let it snap down. Release the foot down towards the floor. Now we're going to come into a figure 4 stretch. So that same leg I just worked, for me it's the left side. I'm going to bring the foot over in front. I'm going to bend the front knee out and away. I'm going to cross the ankle over the opposite knee, still holding on to my wall, lifting up through the chest and through the torso. Now I start to feel this through the outer part of the thigh and the hip. I'm going to pull the belly in, and as I exhale, I'm going to just gently bend through the standing leg, coming down, feeling that opening through the outer thigh, chest is lifted. The foot of the leg that is up, the toes are flexed, so they're pulling in towards the knee. We always want to protect the knee integrity. There's a lot of stretch through the glute, through the outer thigh, and right around the hip. Breathe into this. 2 more breaths. Inhale and exhale. 1 more time, breathing in and breathing out. We're slowly going to start to stand up. Again, think of your muscles like a rubber band. We had a pretty big stretch there. We're going to ease our way out. Gently release the front leg. We've got 1 more set. We're going to do that again. So I'm going to bring the foot back. Toes can stay down. So I can leave the toes down and just tuck the pelvis, or I can start to lift through the back leg. Lifting as high as I can. Maybe I can catch hold, maybe not. It's okay if you can't. Bring the knees together. Try to flex through the foot this time. So notice I'm pressing the toes down towards the floor, and then I'm going to tuck my pelvis under. Huge stretch going on through the hip flexors and through the quadricep muscle. Now I'm sure none of you are just sitting for extended periods of time, right? But if you were, this would be a very good stretch for that seated position. When we're seated, the hip flexors shorten up. Here, we're lengthening them out. 2 more breaths. Relaxing the muscle as much as we can while maintaining that stretch. 1 more breath in and out. A gentle release through the back leg. Toes can rest down if you need. Start to bring the foot forward, crossing over at the knee, lifting the leg, crossing at the ankle. So I do not have to sit into this position at all. Holding in this position right here, I have the outer thigh stretch and the hip opening as well as my hip flexors. I can bend into the knee. I'm going to lose a little bit of the hip flexor, but I'm going to get into the outer thigh. Sinking down as much as I can, flexing the toes, pulling in towards the knee, keeping my chest lifted. It is a big stretch. Think happy thoughts. You can do this. You are stronger for it. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Give me 2 more. So when we get into a big stretch, you might feel the muscles automatically just give way. That's a good thing. We don't want anything to buckle, but in this leg that we're stretching, we should feel that start to open up. Brace through the belly, and as you inhale, start to stand up nice and tall. Slowly moving into our standing position, releasing the leg, and giving a shake out. Other side. So we turn around, still holding on to the wall if you choose. One leg is likely going to be tighter than the other one, so work into the stretch as much as you can. I'm going to start, toes coming back and behind, and I'm going to tuck my pelvis forward. Not so much that the low back sways, but enough that I start to feel the opening through the front of the leg. You can stay right here if you feel like you need a little bit more. Start to bring the heel in towards your glute. Maybe you can reach towards your pants and hold on to them. Maybe you can grab the foot. Breathe here. This is my tighter side. I definitely feel this one already. But we're going to breathe through. And I know you're doing it with me. But that gives me the strength to carry on. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Once more. Inhale. And exhale. Now be very aware of our transition. Deep inhale. And as I exhale, gently begin to release through the foot. Toes can come down. Gently start to slide forward. We're easing into the next position because you already know from the other side it's a big stretch. Flex the foot, start to bend the knee, drawing the ankle towards the standing knee. Press the lifted knee out to the side. I can already feel that through the hip. All of the muscles around the hip, belly is braced. You can stay here, or as you exhale, start to sit into the stretch. Now I told you I was tighter on this side. I'm going to come out of this pose slightly to show you a modification. Stay here if you're feeling that stretch. For me, on this side, I am tighter right through the hip, right around the hip flexor and into the outer part of the hip musculature. So I'm going to hold right here. You've got 3 more breaths so I can feel that and breathe into it and let it start to relax. 1 more time. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, gently release the leg. Both feet can plant down and you can shake out as you need. When you're ready, back foot coming back and behind. We've got 1 more set on this side. Tuck the pelvis under. Feel the opening through the thigh and through the hip flexor. Flex the foot. Bend the knee, start to lift off, taking hold of the foot if you feel comfortable, pressing the knees together. Comfortable with your balance, that is, not comfortable in the stretch because the stretch is not comfortable. Relax the shoulders and breathe. Oh, we're almost done here. You've got this. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale. We use our next breath to transition. Inhale. Exhale. Slow release down. Bringing it forward. Crossing at the ankle. Pressing the knee out and away. I could stay here, but I'm going to take it down a bit more. I'm going to press my hips back. Chest comes forward slightly. Now I can feel that outer thigh stretch. I wasn't feeling the outer thigh as much as I came down, so I needed to open through the hip on the top a little bit more before I got that outer thigh stretch. Now I'm feeling it. 2 more breaths. So always listen to your body once more. And maybe the stretch needs to go deeper for you, and maybe it doesn't. Inhale, slowly bring yourself up. Release the leg down. And give the legs a little shake. Perfectly done, perfectly done. Excellent work. We're going to come down onto our knees. So I am going to grab my towel and I'm going to open it up. You can fold it over as many times as you need to. But I'm going to bring it down for my knees. Just a little bit more cushion here. Now, the tops of my feet are going to come down. I'm going to relax through the shoulders, and we're going to focus on that hip opening just a little more as we work through and open through the chest. So knees are hip width apart. Make sure it feels comfortably planted. We always want to find that grounding and connection into the mat. So even though I have a buffer with the towel, I'm pressing the knees down as much as I can. Deep breath in. Shoulder roll back and down. 3 more breaths. I'm going to continue to talk you through this, bracing through the belly. We're going to come back into into the hip flexor stretch with that superhero pose. You do not have to bend back as far since we are in a kneeling position. One more breath. Inhale and exhale. So this is referred to as our camel pose. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. Exhale, press the pelvis forward as you pull the arms back. You should feel that into the mid-back, but it should not be any pinching or discomfort. Brace the belly, bring yourself back up. Bring the arms down, begin to make a gentle fist. And exhale, press the arms back. Inhale, bend at the elbows and bring your hands to the small of your back. So I'm just going to turn to show you here. Hands come to the small of the back, lift the chest, and pull the elbows together as much as you can. I'll keep it right here, pulling the elbows together. So I definitely feel a lot of tension in my shoulders. I hold a lot of stress into my shoulders, so I'm going to breathe here and try to relax that as much as possible. Belly pulled in, shoulders relaxed as much as you can. Inhale. Exhale. Once more. Inhale. And exhale. Now brace your belly. Inhale. Press your hips back into your fist and then relax your hands down. I'm going to turn head on one more time. Next set we come through. Keep your belly braced. Take 2 more breaths here. The next set we come into, I want you to focus on the hips pressing forward so we get the hip opening and we get some low back work. Again, if this pinches or bothers through the back, you don't have to do it. If it is too much on the knees here, you can come to a seated position here and work the same thing, or we can come to a seated position, hands behind you, and press back. Here we go. One set. Nice and strong. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. Exhale, press the pelvis forward, pull the biceps back by the ears, arms coming back and behind. Feel the opening through the chest. Inhale, bring yourself up, belly into your spine. Exhale, arms come forward, small fist. Bring the arms back and behind. Inhale, bend through the elbows, hands to the small of the back. Inhale, lift your chest. Round your shoulders back and down as you exhale and pull your elbows together. So a modified superhero pose while we are on our knees. So this is a position, a pose where I think I'm a superhero and I find strength in this pose and in this position. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. 3 more breaths, maybe more push forward into the hips if it is comfortable. Brace through the belly though. Keep the belly pulled in towards the spine. Abs are working. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more deep breath in. And out. Now listen carefully. Brace the belly, pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. As you inhale, press through the hips into the fist. Shoulders come over the hips, and then I release the arms down. 2 breaths here. We're going to open through the shoulders. Those of you who have practiced with me regularly, we're going to come into what we call a puppy pose. It's also called a half dog. And we're going to come into a quarter dog, okay? So a downward facing dog, hands are down, hips are up, feet are down. We're going to keep the hips over the knees, and we're going to bring the arms forward. So I'm going to bring my knees back just a little bit, just so I stay in frame. And hands can come to all fours first. Let's go with our quarter dog first. So I'm going to take my right arm. I'm going to start to bend into the elbow. I'm going to relax my head down onto my right forearm, and I'm going to reach my left arm overhead. I'm going to relax through the hips. I'm going to press my chest down towards my mat, and then I'm opening through the chest. So from the side, just so you can hear me talk. Pressing down, hips pressing back. So I have a small scoop in the low back. This is stretching through the glutes. That helps to open through the hips as well. Relax into this position as much as you can. Bracing the belly. I always want my belly button pulled in toward my spine as much as I can. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, we're going to come up onto all fours. And we're going to switch sides. I'm going to face forward one more time. So, left arm, we bend at the elbow. Forehead can come down towards the left arm. Right arm reaches overhead. Press your chest towards your mat. Feel that stretch through the low back. Reaching the right arm overhead. And breathe. Always taking time to breathe. Feel that opening through the chest and the contraction through the shoulders. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale. Brace through the belly. Inhale, lifting back to all fours. On an inhale and exhale. Now you can continue with that quarter dog if you choose, or we're going to take 8 breaths in our half dog or our puppy position. So I'm going to start to walk my hands forward, bracing through my belly, bringing the arms forward as much as I can. Now I can use a block or a towel to rest my forehead down on. Again, we have different levels to work with that. You can bring the head towards a block, towards a pillow, towards something that will help release through the back, or you can release the forehead down towards your mat. Inhale. Exhale. Feel that opening through the chest. A big stretch right along through the underarms. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Give me 1 more breath in this position. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, come back up onto all fours. Brace through the belly. And as you exhale, we're going to come into a Sphinx pose. So I'm going to lower myself down. And I'm going to prop up onto my elbows. So, here, we're working back strengthening, but I'm also working that opening through my abdominal muscles and through my hip flexors. So I'm going to round my shoulders back and down. I want you, if you're not feeling a whole lot of stretch through the hip flexors, I want you to tuck your pelvis under. Not so much a squeeze through the glutes, because when we contract on one side of the body, that takes away from a little bit of the opening on the other side of the body. Just try to relax down as much as you can. So just think of tucking your pelvis in towards the mat as much as you can. Brace through your belly. Round your shoulders back and down, and then give me just a small lift. So I'm not pressing into the hands at all, but I am pressing into the elbows just a little bit, but I'm finding more lift through the chest. So right around the middle and the low back, you should be feeling this. Now when I say you're feeling it, it's the contraction in the muscles, because those are our postural muscles we want contracted and holding on. But there should be no pinching, there should be no nerve pain, no shooting pains, no pain of any kind through the back. If you have pain, slowly lower yourself out of this position. If you do not have pain, this is an excellent back strengthening position to come into regularly. Plus, you get the bonus of opening through the hip flexors. Give me 2 more breaths. Inhale. exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Inhale. And as you exhale, start to bring the elbows out to the side. Chest and head come towards the mat. I'm going to cross my forearms and just rest my forehead down onto my hands. We're going to take 5 breaths here. Now, stay in that relaxed position. Your next option is to come back into a Sphinx pose and just hold the Sphinx pose, or we can use our strap and come into a half bow pose. So we're going to do the right leg first, and then we're going to do the left leg so that we get some more hip opening as we come into this position. Again, the legs is going to just be a little bit of a bonus here. You do not have to do them. If you choose to, you can reach for your mat or reach for your strap. If you don't want to use your strap, then this could be a good excuse that, oh, I couldn't find my strap anywhere. Oh no, I guess I'll have to do it without. I'm going to bring it back behind. Not the best position to try to get into with the strap, but I'm going to reach back and behind, bringing the strap around the foot. So we're going to come up onto the elbows. Strap comes back and behind. So I'm in a Sphinx pose, but I just have the right leg bent. You can do the same thing here without the strap. You can just bend the leg. So I can just have the leg bent. I'm going to flex through the foot though, so that I get more of that contraction through the hamstring. And then I'm going to start to pull with the strap just a little bit. Again, those of you who practice with me regularly, you know I just like to hold index finger and thumb so that I don't have a full grip and I'm just really pulling onto the foot as I come in. You should be feeling into the back, but we're also feeling into the hip flexor as well. If this is too much into the back, you can lie flat and just work on pulling the leg up and in so that you feel the hip flexor stretch. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. Relaxing as much as you can. Now, I have my knee lifted, but you can keep the knee down onto the mat, just depending on how much hip flexor stretch you need. One more time. Nice big inhale. And as you exhale, gently lower down. If you're not already close to your mat, release your leg down. So I lower down from my Sphinx pose, and I lower down from the leg contraction. Lying down, if you can, switch the strap. I know it is not the easiest transition. Again, the strap is optional. You don't have to use it. Gently coming back into Sphinx pose if you choose, or staying down on the ground. I'm going to prop up, flex my foot, strap in my left hand and around my left foot. So I keep the strap right around my ankle. Nice big inhale. And as you exhale, just a small pull in on the strap. Breathing in, breathing out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. 2 more breaths, breathing in, breathing out. In and out. One more deep inhale. If you're in Sphinx pose, slowly exhale and lower the upper body down. Inhale. And as you exhale, gently release the left leg, release the strap. 2 breaths right here. Once more. Now, I'm going going to change position, but you can just roll over onto your back. I'm going to come up and I'm just going to change so I can show you the angle right here. We're going to come into a few bridging positions. Barbara, I always think of you when we bridge. We're going to add in some shoulder opening here. So I'm going to tuck the pelvis under. I'm going to stretch through the quads and through the hip flexors one more time. I'm going to lift up slowly. And this time I'm going to take my hands, and if you can, bring the hands underneath. Maybe you can clasp the hands together. If you clasp the hands together, so I interlace my fingers, pull my palms together, I'm going to round through the shoulders and lift the chest, and then I'm going to push the pelvis up toward the ceiling as much as I can. And I'm going to take 5 more breaths right here. Deep breath in, deep breath out. In, out, inhale, exhale. I know you're getting tired. 2 more. Inhale, exhale. Beautiful work. Once more, inhale. This time, hold the bridge. As you exhale, slowly release the hands to your side. Inhale. And then exhale, lower your hips down. A quick figure 4 stretch here. Right leg crosses over left, left over right, whichever feels better. And we're just gently going to push the knee away. You could take this deeper, but for this pose, I just want a small push away. Slow release. Cross the opposite direction. Other foot. Pressing out and away. So we're just pressing with the hand, feeling the hip flexor open. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Gently release that leg. Draw both knees into your chest. Give yourself a well-deserved hug. Squeeze in. A hug from me to you. Breathing in and out. You can find your position for relaxation and take some time to breathe. I'm going to rock up. I will have a relaxation video for you as well. But thank you so much for continuing to practice. Keep strong, keep practicing. If you have requests, let me know. Otherwise, I have to come up with things on my own, and you know how that gets. So, have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you for practicing with me, for choosing to practice. And as always,